everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again. I want to kind of discuss a little bit about love. And I am so excited to share my experience, or let me say a brief portion, because I may not share everything. And I'm sweating a little bit because it makes me nervous to be honest and open about the things that I've gone through. And I'm pretty sure thousands and thousands of other women have gone through some similar things. So let's dive right in and get started. This is a little bit different. This is not about makeup. This is not about any hot topic, but I wanted to share. It's so important for me to share something that came into my life unexpectedly. I really didn't expect this curveball in my 8-year relationship, but it happened, and I'm excited to share because I feel like as women, a lot of the things that we fail to do is share honest experiences to help other women. So can you imagine going through life and trying to figure it out on your own because some of the examples that you had were not so great? Me, I had no idea what it was like to be in a relationship. I pretty much tried to figure everything out myself, and I kind of portrayed the picture perfect relationship because I didn't want anybody to know anything that was going on behind closed doors, nor did I want to share any of our arguments or shortcomings or just anything because I didn't want any judgment. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people out there, a lot of women specifically, deal with the attitude of, I don't want to be judged, and that's fine. So I want to share a book, and I'm pretty sure some people have read it and others haven't. This book, even talking about it, makes me slightly emotional because it not only changed my perspective on love and relationships, but it completely changed my life. My life as a person, not just in a relationship. Of course, this book is about relationships, about marriage, and how to have a successful relationship, but it completely changed my life. I mean, my life. And I am a certain age right now, and I'm young, and I'm blessed that it changed my life when it did. And it wasn't 50 years or 30 years in a relationship, and that's when I decided to get my together. But it's called 5 Love Languages, The Secret to Love That Lasts by Gary Chapman, New York bestseller. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I'm not somebody to read whatsoever. The only thing I probably read in grade school and high school were my scripts to plays. That was the only thing that I was consistent with. The things that I'm consistent with are the things that I'm passionate about. So, just a disclaimer. Never read a whole book to its entirety. Not ashamed. A little bit sweating and ashamed to say, I'm trying to say I'm not ashamed. But yeah, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not a reader. And I'm pretty sure there's thousands of people that aren't readers. So, disclaimer, wasn't a reader. Oh well, I am now, and I can't put a book down. So thanks to Gary Chapman and 5 Love Languages, I read the whole entire book in 3 days. So just a little backstory. I've been with my partner for 8 years now. 8 lovely, amazing, hard, interesting years. We're completely opposites, come from 2 different worlds, 2 different backgrounds, 2 different religions per se, if you want to classify it as that. 2 different ethnicities, culture, all of that. We are just completely different. She's an introvert, I'm an extrovert. I'm crazy, she's calm until you push her. But, life happened to us, and I never thought that I would be having to read a book like this. I thought in my mind, my conscious thought that my relationship was perfect and I had no flaws, or we had no flaws, I should say. Walking through Barnes and Nobles and trying to work on our relationship, trying to figure out if we were going to stay together, trying to figure out if, where our love stood and what life looked like without each other, what life looked like with each other. I mean, weighing our pros and cons. I mean, like normal people. Well, I didn't think we were normal until I read all the 50,000 stories that are in this book. So picked up this book, and I mean, literally the first couple of chapters, I'm just like in it. We're driving to church, I'm reading. We're eating, I'm reading. I could not put the book down. Like, I didn't pick up the phone for phone calls. I didn't pick up the phone for FaceTimes. I didn't pick up the phone for anything, because this moment in my life, the only thing that was important to me was making sure I did whatever I could to fight and fix and figure out my relationship. So let me talk a little bit about the book. So the book is about, in a nutshell, learning how to love your spouse the way that they would like to be loved. A lot of times we tend to love our spouse based on how we want to be loved. And once you understand your love language, and once it clicks, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. Oh, this is what she was talking about. Oh, she didn't want me to talk to her like this. Oh, okay, words of affirmation. Hello, somebody. It just became so clear to me what I needed to work on, and vice versa. So once you figure out your spouse's love language, the idea is for you to love them and express love to them the way that they want to be loved. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So let me kind of go over the love languages in case, for some of you that don't have any idea what love languages are. Okay, so there are 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. I always kind of forget acts of service and receiving gifts, and that's only because they're not my love languages nor my spouse, so I kind of forget those at times, but no worries, they're still important. I have friends that have those love languages. It talks a lot about the falling in love and how we get so caught up in, we don't get that sometimes you're not going to always stay in love. That high peak of when you first meet, and I remember it like it was yesterday, our situation and how we were just infatuated with each other. But the infatuation time doesn't last always. And when stuff really hits the fan, the true test is what and how you're going to survive when you need to, when it's like flight or fight. Like, you have to fight for everything, and it's just not going to last forever, and that's okay. I think we, as society, tries to paint this picture of a relationship, or what a relationship really needs to look like, or what a relationship should, if they're not doing this, then you really don't love them, etc., etc. Life happens, especially when you've been with somebody for years and years and years. I'm only on 8 years. I can't wait to say 10. I can't wait to say 15. Like, those are the type of goals I have, to have a strong relationship and have it for years, because my mother didn't have a marriage or a partnership, so I didn't see that. And that was one of my goals, is to get married and to have a strong, loving relationship, because it breaks my heart that my mother did not have that and still doesn't have that. And even reading this book, I realized that I could have possibly been the problem because she was so focused on me. So you find a lot about yourself, a lot about love, a lot about family, a lot about how much your childhood has so much influence on your decisions now, on the way we interact with people, the way that we define love, things of that nature. So words of affirmation, just a brief summary, is pretty much about how we speak to our spouse, how we communicate love through words, and how important it is to, if your partner's love language is words of affirmation, read up on it, because how we argue, how we talk to them, even expressing like gratitude towards them. Gratitude is so important. Gratitude is so important in life. Just imagine, how you would feel if that was your love language, and all you want to hear is that you did a great job putting up the lights, or thank you so much, just saying thank you, things like that. Words of affirmation are powerful. I think we forget about how powerful words are. We use words so loosely, like fantastic, amazing. We put so much emphasis on words that really shouldn't have so much emphasis. And love, the word love kind of just falls by the wayside. It's not as important to certain people. So words of affirmation, amazing way to express love through words. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. It's not about all the good things. It's about, the hard times too, when you're in an argument, what that sounds like, what that looks like, that type of conversation. Still trying to be mindful of their love language and expressing everything that you discussed through, words of love. And that's going to take time, but it's absolutely doable. Quality time is my love language. I do care about how you speak to me, but the most important thing to me, just spend time with me. And I've been spoiled. My love spends a lot of time with me. I know that people probably are like, oh my gosh, they're always together. They always spend so much time together. But when I mean to tell you, there are thousands of women that don't get that and are struggling and have divorces and things of that nature. So I am blessed, truly blessed, that my partner actually wants to spend time with me and knows how important keyword now, knows how important it is to me for her to spend time with me, and the way we spend time together goes along with quality time. It's just not spending time together, but it is how we spend time together. I think that, it's important to know that having a lot of money does not equate to quality time. You do not have to have a lot of money to spend time with your spouse or your loved one or the relationship you're trying to have. You do not need a lot of money. It can be something as simple as a picnic in the park, a walk through the museum, a lunch date. Just the thought of wanting to spend time is quality time. The third is physical touch. And let me just tell you, I had no idea that I would be physical touch, because I didn't grow up in a family dynamic that kissed and hugged and all of that. So on my whole entire relationship, my whole entire life, I thought that physical touch was not important. Not to express, yes, of course, but for it to be reciprocated back to me was like, oh, don't touch me. What? No. Oh. But it was important. And after reading the book, or after reading that specific segment, there were a lot of people that really truly thought since childhood that physical touch was not a part of their love language because they were touched or hugged as a child. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. I knew in my mind, I trained my mind and I trained myself to believe that I didn't care about it. Now, a hug, one thing, so when I first met my partner, she's Filipino and Hawaiian, And in the Filipino culture, greeting, it makes so much sense now. It didn't at first. Of course, I wasn't raised in the Filipino culture, but when you greet another, you know, kiss and you hug and you show an affection of some sort. Like you just, you know, love on one another. And so every time we would go to a family party, which were 50 in 1 week, you know, everybody would greet and, hi Jasmine, hi, hey. I'm like, oh my God, she just kissed me on the cheek. And who is she? It blew my mind. Now, and don't ever go into a Filipino household to an elder. Do not greet them that way. You have a Filipino lesson, okay? Greet them. Filipinos are physical touch. So, now that I know that, I appreciate it so much more, because what you don't know, you automatically kind of have a feeling towards. And I did. I'm gonna admit it. I thought it was weird. I didn't understand it. Now I appreciate it so much more, because when my kids come into this world, they better kiss and hug everybody. The fourth one is acts of service. Acts of service. When we took the test, it came back that my partner's love language was acts of service. And I was just like, what? I always clean. I always cook. You don't have to do nothing. I do it all for you. So what do you mean it's acts of service? And I'm like, oh, maybe it is. Because she absolutely loves for her not to do it. So maybe she absolutely loves me to do it. But coming to find out, her love language is acts of service. But anyway, acts of service is doing things unexpectedly. So it may be mowing the grass. If your husband, you know, you mow it for him after a long day at work, and he doesn't even have to ask you. You just kind of just do it and it's done. You know, cooking dinner. When I mean to tell you, do you know how many, well, Dr. Chapman expresses several relationships that go to counseling, and it's something small like she doesn't cook dinner. Like, I wish that was my problem. She doesn't cook dinner. I mean, I think we tend to complain a lot about our relationships and the things that people do and don't do. And there are people out there, guys, thousands, that are dealing with something like their divorce is going to happen because the woman doesn't cook dinner. But if she understood that his love language was acts of service, don't you think all 1,000 of these women would do it? So many ways you can do acts of service. And last but not least, receiving gifts. Receiving gifts is just, you know, a surprise cupcake in the window, a little note on the door, roses sent to your job, you know, things like that. It is just the little gestures of receiving gifts, flowers picked out from your garden. This book is so amazing. Knowing loved. I think it's so important to understand, when you truly understand your spouse, understand their background, understand where they came from, understand their deepest pains and hurts and struggles, it is going to be so much easier to understand their love language. Understand, you know, some of the dynamics of the things that are hidden in their childhood that they may not want to discuss initially, but it takes time. Get them to open up so that you can understand how important it is to really love that individual based on their love language. I would love to see your love languages. You can definitely follow me on Instagram at Gisette Love, and I want to kind of know what you think. I have posted some things about the book and on Facebook, so you know, couples, I guess, pages on Facebook, and I love to see what other people's love languages are. I love to hear what people say on Twitter. Gary Chapman is on Twitter, and he posts a lot of good information constantly on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I have retweeted some of his stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's going to be a crazy, amazing ride. I'm not gonna just do beauty. I'm not gonna just do, it's gonna be a life transformation. I feel like I am transforming my life, and I'm so blessed that I'm young and I'm able to figure it out now and focus on love and my relationship and the power of change. And I want to share it with you all. I don't want to be that person that just holds it in. I know my friends probably get a little irritated because I get so excited. I want everybody to read this. I want everybody to do this. But you have to meet people where they are. And I just want to share, a little bit about myself. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you, God, for your amazingness and for blessing me continuously. Thank you for my love, for our love, and just for being who you are and being amazing. And thank you to Gary Chapman for creating this amazing book. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys kind of going through the whole entire video with me. This is such an amazing experience, and I wanted to make sure I shared. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and just always remember, you can love your spouse the best once you love God first.